Okay, folks. So, we're in the depths. Couple of things I want to discuss on this video. I'm actually using a controller that does have a knackered D-pad, sorry. I thought that this was my good one. This is not one of my good ones. That was my mistake. So, as much as the Microsoft D-pad is not very good, this one is more broken than perhaps the one you might be using. Another thing to bear in mind as well, sorry. Oh, I need to be human, shit. Is that I am playing this game on its maximum brightness, so if my game looks different to yours, it's because of that. Additionally, I'm playing this on an original Xbox, so if my game doesn't look as impressive as yours does, it's because of that. That being said, the lighting in this game is vastly different to what it used to be, so there's definitely that. There we go. And the Vamos bonfire is new. I second-guessed myself because I don't really remember Vamos that much, but it turns out that it is indeed new. So, if you're confused like I was, it's for a good reason. Okay, ratatas. That was fantastic. More of that, please. Boom. Look at that. Beautiful. He's alive, right? Yeah. Creeping forward, ever presently. We get the great axe, which is a great weapon. And we get to hit the pile of shit. The last time I was in the depth doing this, I was doing the Invasion series, the Dirty Depth, with a TH, which spawned from the original Invasion series. Humanity has risks, human form has risks. So anybody curious about that, there is a playlist for those things. If you're interested in seeing some low-level invasions with the emphasis on craziness and stupid stuff, that's pretty much what you'll find, should you pursue that path. You know what, I don't think I've ever fought this rat on the ground. Probably not going to start now either. Seems like such a wasted opportunity. It is big though, isn't it? Jesus, massive. But I need to do the shortcut to get the spider shield, because that's one of the things that I did on my first playthrough, because I was conditioned by somebody telling me get the spider shield, it'll make Blighttown easier, so you feel like you've got to do it, right? Even though it's not that important. Will it help? Oh yeah, it'll help. But it's not essential. I do think that the speed of this game is very strange because of the 60 frames. It's one of those things that's going to take a while getting used to it fully. I'm not quite there yet. Got a couple of dogs now to contend with. Not my favourite enemy, it must be said. And a couple of stragglers. But we should be able to trigger them like that. There we go. He's very ambitious with his swing. We can use that against him. But it seems like everybody is sharing their opinions on the remaster, which is nice. It's nice to hear what everybody thinks. My thoughts so far are just that I don't like the visuals. I don't like what they've done to the lighting. It changes the quality of the visuals. I think the frame rate shouldn't really drop at all. But there are instances of it happening. The idea of adding a bonfire to me sounds kind of crazy when you consider the stuff they haven't added. So, at the moment, it's more the visuals that get me than anything else. A lot of the world looks different because of the way that it's now cast with lighting and such. And you might think, well, Chris, that's just because your brightness is too harsh. That's not true, guys. I've always played Dark Souls with max brightness. Always. Every video of mine you've ever watched has had max brightness. The difference is the way that this game looks, because it's stylistically different now. The engine's a little bit different, perhaps. I'm not entirely certain of all the tweaks and the changes. And QWERTY asked, that I looked at the change list, and I've actually intentionally avoided it. And the reason is I wasn't going to play this, because I'm not really interested in the game. Me and Dark Souls have had a strong, long relationship, but it's time to move on, right? But everybody was asking for this, and because I'm about to go on holiday for a week, I needed some gameplay to have, so what better thing to have than something that everyone's been asking for. So avoiding the change list was just kind of part and parcel of that, so that when I did get to it, I wouldn't judge it based on what I'd been told, and I could kind of feel it. Like, that looks so different than it used to look. They've gone nuts with the particles, and I don't mind it, but it just feels weird. But hopefully it will enable me to give it an honest appraisal based on my experience of playing now, rather than my many experiences of playing at other times. Is he going to back up and try and get me to fall? Probably. I don't think there's anything down there, is there? I think I can proceed on. With the ship pools and everything. And then do the... Wow, look at that. That looks so dark now. Look how dark that looks. This is max brightness, and that just looks like somebody's dumped a blanket of darkness there. That is not what this used to look like. In my mind, anyway. There's always the chance that if I went back, it looked similar to that, but I don't feel like it did. That dude didn't fight. Look at how long he dissolves as well. That's another thing worth saying as well. My experiences came from an inferior version of the game. Okay, folks, sorry about that. We just had a random bout of spontaneous hoovering, which doesn't sound great on the microphone, so if there's a little bit of a jump there, you know why. Ooh, nearly. Thank you, camera default. That was awesome. It nearly kills them. With emphasis on nearly. Ooh, that's a point. I need to stop Lawtrek, don't I? If I do too much of the depths too soon, Lawtrek is going to fuck up my Firekeeper, and I'm not going to get his ring. That's a really good point. And I need his ring because it's the best ring in the game when it comes to just base additions and statistics. Oh great, that's this controller then. That's why this is a bad idea. Because I cannot fucking do R1s with this controller. So the D-pad on this is great, but the R1 is not. So I've swapped controllers, and all it's going to do is mean that... Listen to this. This is R1, by the way. You hear that? See my guy swinging? Yeah, me neither. Can't use this then. Shit. I have no luck with controllers, guys. Can you believe that I beat all the bosses at like 4 Soul Level 1 on New Game Plus 6 on Dark Souls 3 using a controller where the R1 button barely registers? There's no way it was as bad as it just was then, but I remember it being quite bad. I suppose the one good thing about it is you could just swap the controls, couldn't you, so that the R2 is R1, because let's face it, all you really do in these games is R1 a lot of the time. Domhnall of Xena. Sells pine resins, which is going to be quite useful. He's got a bottomless box, which is also quite useful. And then he's got his own funky armour, which is... I always liked the armour of the Glorious, especially the gloves and the torso. But they never fit anything that well. Oftentimes they feel a little bit misplaced. Do you need the crystal weapons for all elite weapons? I don't know. I should probably buy them and forget about them. It's probably a massive waste of souls, but souls are the last thing on my mind at the moment. And I should grab the bottomless box just for the sake of it. Then I can get rid of some stuff out of my inventory. Not that activating the inventory is going to be a very fun endeavour at the moment, because everything is frustrating on this D-pad, which is frustrating by itself. Let's open the shortcut. There we go. And then let's go kill Kirk. and explore the depths that I never really explore because there's no real need to. Get off me, rat. He runs away for the trap. And then the box jumps at you, right? Or is that a different trap? It's the next one, right? Oh no, no rat box this time. We've already passed it, I guess. So Kirk turns up on... There's the flame signifying his arrival, right? He should spawn here. Yeah, there he is. Interesting. I didn't know if Kirk fat rolled. Oh shit. Wow. That red effect on his body looked really nice. There you go, buddy. I do like the invader particles. The invader particles look really nice. And then we get the spiky shield. Not the fairest of fights for poor Kirk, but fuck him. Or her, I think. Confusing my pronouns is... Oh, that was a frame drop. Ever so slightly. So Ferry was asking me if I've come across many frame drops. The only ones I've seen are the occasional ones like that hiccup just then. I have not fought Sith yet. Apparently Sith is really, really bad. Ooh, Eyes of Death. That's going to help for perhaps getting the... Is it the Gravelord miracle that I'm going to need to get the 1000G? So that's useful. Additionally, if you have any AoE move or any good jump attack, you can kill these guys through the wall. Don't think I'm going to be able to... Oh, I can do that. But I'm not going to be able to display the full wrath of it. Like, if you have a halberd or something, you can... Or a Zwei, you can hit... I could put those on, because I do technically have the points to use them. Because I've got, like... I'm using the most stupid strength build. And we have more spontaneous hoovering, so I apologise if you hear that. But this is one of those areas that not a lot of people like to go because of curse frogs. And if you know anything about the curse frogs, you know that they're one of the first enemies you bump into that actively don't try to kill you. Ah, that's not good. Dude, I did not remember that. Little bastard sneaking up on me. Why is this jump so close? Can I jump across this by actually jump attacking? Nope. No, I can't. But I get the Ring of the Evil Eye, so it's not so bad. Hi. As you might have anticipated, you don't want to stand in that. If that thing fills, you get cursed. Curse on the original version of the game could stack, which meant that you were not given the mercy that you are now given in this game, which is that it can only happen to you once, and then you can cure it, and then it can happen to you again. Whereas in the base version of the game, you could be cursed until you had nothing left to give. And I think that was awesome. But there were too many dumb bastards getting themselves into unwinnable situations in their minds, so they changed it. But I liked that. I thought it was cool. I don't know what this is, by the way. I don't remember picking it up that often. But let's have a see. Can I even grab it from this side? Oh, it's just a humanity. Just a humanity. Humanity is a pretty precious resource in this game. If you PvP, it's not. Because at that point, you've probably bottomless boxed. Or edited your save or something. Or maybe had somebody do a mule for you. Which was very rife. Shout out to my first mule back in the day when I was an infant in Dark Souls. His name was Wasted Pixel. Guy was a very generous, very patient guy. Helped me out getting all the items on a build so I could bottomless box it. Those were good days, good times. Is that the only thing down here, the Evil Eye Ring? I think it is. You don't have to get all the rings on this game either, so it's not that big of a deal. But there's the other path, right? Wasn't there another path? Or did I go down the other path? I can't remember. Yeah, I think I went down it. Yeah, the frame rate on that section there goes a little bit. Someone was asking if the visuals look washed out because it's on the Xbox. The visuals don't look washed out because they're on the Xbox. The lighting looks different is all, folks. The visuals look a little bit washed out because the brightness does not complement the new lighting system, and additionally it gets compressed twice. So the vision that I'm playing right now looks okay, doesn't look great, and then of course when I render it, it gets compressed again, so the quality is reduced, and then when you put it on YouTube, YouTube renders it as well, so the quality once again gets reduced, so you're getting two sets of quality reduction. You can compensate for this by a whole host of post-processing things, but fundamentally, I don't really play Dark Souls for how it looks. It's a great looking game, and I like it stylistically, but the graphics don't really matter to me, so that's why I'm not too bothered by it. If you're bothered by it, all I can really do is apologise, because it doesn't really bother me. Hi. But I think because this port is such a point of contention, there's a lot of people interacting that perhaps not normally would, because they want to leave their impressions of what's in it and everything. Which is nice. It's nice to see people taking part in debate. I've never had so many comments aimed at me that were not to do with me, which is good. Because as fun as it is to talk to people and be part of the conversation, sometimes it's nice to just ambiently have the conversation happen. It's not always about you. I wish somebody could convey that information across to Mr. Darkside Phil, but alas, probably going to have a tough time doing that. And then we can go and save the lady now. Yeah. I do still think that the way that the Berg and Dark Souls world links together was so ahead of its time. It's probably the closest thing to perhaps a 3D Metroidvania in the purest sense of it. Because sure, there's a lot of games that link together and have a big open world. You know, things like your Zeldas, and then later on in time you've got stuff like your Tomb Raiders and what have you. But I think that this was... The elegance of it is so similar to when we first came across Metroid, and the way that that game's systems worked. It's a really special game. It's a shame you couldn't do jump attacks by pressing right trigger when you sprint like you can in Dark Souls 3. That was a really, really nice addition. It kind of sucked that there wasn't too many running R2s for the most. But I instantly forgave it with the utility of it. Fucking bitch. I can finally do my jump attack on this guy, right? Oh, sometimes he does that. There you go. But we'll not be chased now, which is good to see. Okay, so it seems like Lautrec has moved on, but I haven't pushed the game far enough for him to kill the Firekeeper yet, which is bad, because it means I have to partake in a stupid invasion to get his ring now, and I can only do it at Anor Londo. Also, Petrus has moved on, and Rhea and her bodyguards are not in Firelink, which I can't remember if it's when you kill the Capra Demon, if they move on and they go into the catacombs. Because I was making a build, one of the more recent builds I made used Wrath of God, and I had to get 3 stacks of it for it to be as effective as I would have liked. So I ended up doing that quite a lot. But I can't remember exactly how that works. You also get a Divine Blessing if you save her. Because when you go down into the catacombs and you kill her bodyguards who have hollowed, she somehow escapes the Tomb of the Giants like a beast, and then she goes to the altar in the parish, and she'll be praying at that altar prostrate, and that's when Petrus goes and kills her. If you don't go up there and save her, if you kill a boss after she's saved from the Tomb of the Giants, it will make the game world proceed, and she will die. But if you go to her when she is there, she gives you a Divine Blessing, and you might be like, well, that's really specific, Chris, considering that you forgot this and that. How the hell did you know or remember that? Well, I'm one of those stupid people that You know how I mentioned that I've done some dumb things in this game? Well, one of the dumbest things I ever did in this game was I legitimately collected 99 divine blessings. And I did it because I used to PvP and use them. And when you use the save editor, or if you knew how to duplicate items when you had a stack of 99, which involved moving them between the box and your inventory using the triggers, and you could do it, and it essentially just duped 99 fresh new versions of things for you. I had an infinite supply of anything I wanted, including divine blessings, and when you're fighting against 3 people in the forest, it proved to be a lifesaver and really, really useful. But there were a lot of people that completely disagreed with it, because at the time there were a lot of Twitch streamers and players who previously hoard divine blessings like everybody else did, but they got these sentiments of nobility from people who didn't like it, and then there was kind of this accepted thing among a lot of them where they all decided to stop using divines against gankers, and it was this strange movement that I never got the memo for and never really cared for, so I used them. I didn't give a fuck, and I used to get a lot of flack for it. And everybody's argument was always kind of the same garbage. It was always this idea that I couldn't get them. Nobody feasibly would ever have 99 divine blessings, because it just kind of doesn't happen, right? That was the arguments for a lot of people. And I didn't believe that, because I knew, principally, how to do it. I'm going to have to jump. Do you slide and then fall, or can you jump? I can't remember. Oh, you can jump. Cool. Hi! Bitch. So I used to get into arguments with these people all the time over divine blessings. It's got some range. Bitch. Stop it. And then one day, I was playing Dark Souls like I did, because I used to play the game a lot, loved the game, really good game. And I decided, fuck it, I'll do it. I'll do the thing they say you can't do. And it took me something like 19 New Game Pluses, because I missed the opportunity to get one of the divines. One of the divines you can get from the Forest Covenant for doing a certain amount of invasions. And I didn't really want to invade on a build that was built to wreck PvE. And I say wreck PvE. All I did was Power Within, Dusk Crown, Dark Bead with the, is it the Tin Catalyst? The most powerful catalyst for like 50 int. And that was it. And to make it even more ridiculous if need be, I would let Power Within kill me to a certain point, and then I would have the Tearstone ring on, and then I would immediately hit with one attack that did like nuclear damage, and then I'd heal myself. And that's how I went through the game super quickly. And I was beating the game in about 2 hours, collecting all the available divines. And I learnt and memorised where they all were, having done that. And it took me about 60 hours, to which there are people that haven't even played this game for 60 hours. And there are people who have played the game for less than 60 hours and think they know everything about it, right? Because Dark Souls really does attract... What are you doing? Really does attract those kind of people who like to come across as being more learned than they are. Because it's a game that has a lot of information. So people enjoy being under the knowledge of what happens and everything in the game. But one of the things I learned quite quickly with the Souls series is that the knowledge is great, but the experience is irreplaceable. Because nobody can give you dodge timings, nobody can give you the understanding of animations. It looks like these bodies are alive, dude. That's so weird. So when a player who has good knowledge says things like, I know everything about the game, I always take that with a bit of a pinch of salt, because I find it quite funny. Because I know that they don't. Because I don't, and I know I've played more than they have. And maybe they're a better player than I am, who knows. There's plenty of those out there, but... always take it with a pinch of salt, guys. So, let's go kill the Gaping Dragon, but I need to summon a buddy who's going to make this harder than it needs to be. so I can get a nice sunlight medal. And I think the reason I couldn't hit the sunlight altar is because in this game I think it needs a stat, which is really silly, but that's what this game used to be like. Can't you summon 2 people for this? You can summon Solaire and you can summon Lautrec, but I don't think I summoned maybe once back in the day, but I don't really remember where the summon signs are. I think they're on this plane somewhere. Oh, there you go. That one stands out a mile. Who is that? So that one's him, and then round this corner is Lautrec, right? Heavy crossbow, cool. That's in case you missed the channel. Lautrec is here somewhere, but I think you have to have interacted with him. Not a problem, though. You should never summon for this fight. If you summon for this fight, you're doing it wrong. I'm summoning because I need his medal. And the reason why you never summon for this fight is because the Gaping Dragon's AI, when it has 2 targets, gets really, really stupid. And it ends up doing all kinds of things that can end up hurting you when it's not even attacking you. And you need to be aware of that. Additionally, Solaire's AI is so bad at pathfinding, you want to make sure he's at the door before you enter if you want to get any kind of benefit from him. Because if he's not, he will... Sometimes he can't even get in the room correctly. He's that stupid. And I don't know if they helped him. But that was a serious problem back in the day. But here's the Gaping Vagina. I'm not interested in watching this cutscene. And there's the classic song. Face slam. Can I hit this little thing? Kinda. So, the fundamental thing to know about this enemy is that if you move while if you go near him while he's moving, he has a hitbox on his body, which what is he doing? He's gonna sit up and jump, probably. Spin, tail whip. Ooh, that's a point. I need his tail, don't I? But this is where... Oh, he's jumping. So, for instance, in a move like this, he can hit me by accident just by virtue. Yeah, this is... It's just not... See what I mean? That would never happen in the position that I'm stood in, but because of where Solaire is, it's happening. And I might not kill this guy in time, but Solaire's been a bitch. Now he's looking at me. Whipping again, right? Oh no, now he's looking at him. But do you see what I mean? You never really want to, if you can avoid it. There we go. That's good news. Oh, but that's bad news. So now not only do we have a buffed dude, but we missed the very thing I wanted to do here. I can get 3 attacks there, right? Dude, that seems so slow. I suppose I've just played faster games, right? There we go. Dude, he stands for ages! Did he always stand for that long? It's been a long time, Gaping. This boss is a fucking joke. It looks fantastic, though. There's a big jump. Wonder if he's going to vom on me. There's his tail whip with no tail. I love that he still goes for that, even though he can't technically do it. Don't know why he'd do that. Depth perception. There's his jump. This has surprisingly really, really good range. We want to be in front of him so that he slams his face, ideally. That's the move you want to bait, anyway. There it is. And then you want to hit his face. Interesting. Did I stun his face then? Why did it do the... That was unusual. Is he... Oh, he's puking, right? Yeah, that's the puke. Does that break your equipment? It's been a long time since I've stood it. There's his face again. Face hitting the dirt. But he's such a great looking boss, but the fight is pretty tepid. And I don't have the stamina to hit bleed on this guy, if I can even bleed him at all. One would think I can bleed him. I know I've killed him with the gold tracer before, but I don't know if it was the bleed that did the deed. I could probably get an extra hit in there, but my stamina's kind of low, so I don't want to get too ambitious. I've already took a massive hit, so as graceful as the fight could have been, Solaire ruined that, and I didn't even get the benefit, which is sad. Do not touch his feet when he's walking, by the way. It ends badly. But there he is. He looks fantastic. I just wish he had more than 2 moves. Which he has like 5 moves, but none of them are remotely threatening. The tail whip is the most threatening, and you'll never get it if you don't hug his back. It happens when you're out of position more so than any other reason. But there you go. Failed to get a sunlight medal, which sucks. But it's my own fault. As you notice, my damage is not the best, in spite of me having a lot of points in strength, because this weapon does not do good scaling. And then, of course, its main strength is probably its bleed potential. But there are some enemies that are immensely resilient to bleed. Some enemies cannot be bled as well. But let's open the doorway and let's go on to the place that everybody loves.